Oh, hello everyone. So, I'm going to be making a video of these new cell phone towers. So, Tillman Infrastructure has been building some new cell phone towers in replacement for cell towers, because you've seen this one right here. So, this was one of my favorite cell phone towers right here. And then in 2016, they built this tower. Which I remember when they built this tower, because me and my dad went to the reservoir in Springfield for a couple of days, and I actually seen a big crane right here as they would build this tower. And when they got to the top section of the tower, like the platform, they were like hanging off to the side of the tower. And then in 2020, they built this tower. And this tower, well, had a sad story to it. But this tower, this new lattice tower, has a beacon. It has an FTS 370 beacon. And I'm not sure what kind of beacon this one has, the 2016 cell phone tower. But I don't want to talk too much about this tower, but the other day me and my dad drove by this tower, and I think this monopole might have been taken down. Because I've filmed this monopole tower before when it was abandoned, because I've seen these two towers over here. And I was like, oh, I get to film these towers this time. But it turns out this monopole may have been taken down. So it's probably not around anymore. So this tower's down the road from the three towers. It's like on the highway going into Springfield. So this one's owned by Tillman Infrastructure too. It's a beaconless tower, because it's like under 200 feet. So it doesn't have any beacons or side markers, because I've seen this one before. So here's one on the south of Springfield. I remember the first time I seen this tower. This one's Tillman Infrastructure too, because they're building most of the new towers now. But I remember I was looking on Google Maps, the interstate, like Interstate 70, like on the south of Springfield, and I seen Google Earth was updated, and there's this new cell phone tower that Tillman Infrastructure put up. And while I was going to Dayton for the weekend, and we come home, and we forgot to turn on a different highway. And so I was like, this could be my chance to actually see this tower in person. And so I had it back in one of my previous videos. It's like several months ago, I think. I filmed this one. So this one is on the highway going into Springfield. Now, I think maybe why Zayden knows this tower, because there's this video he commented on saying like the info of the tower and like what year it was constructed and like how many feet high it was. So I'm not sure how he knows this tower, but I found one day we was taking my uncle down to Dayton, and I seen them constructing this tower. And I'm like, they're getting a new monopole in Springfield, so I had to film it. But that was before I started YouTube, was when this tower was constructed. But I sadly didn't film the construction though, so that's unfortunate. But so this one's close to my grandpa's house. It's one of those towers that I didn't even know they constructed until me and my dad had seen it in person. Well, we was taking the wrong turn in the area, and I looked in the distance, and there was this unfamiliar cell phone tower, so I had to get a closer look at it. Well, it was actually one of the new cell towers that Tillman Infrastructure was putting up. So, yeah, this was put up like at the beginning of 2020. This one has an FTS 370 beacon with flashing side markers. Now this one's another Tillman Infrastructure tower close to my grandpa's house. Which I remember when they put this one up, because they had a big gen pole on the side of the tower. And my dad would take me by that tower every day as they would construct it. And you would see the guys climbing it to raise the platform and the antennas up. Now this tower, it has some kind of flash technology dual strobe, but when they first built it, because we drove by it at night when they first completed it, it only had a side marker at the very top of it, which they didn't give it a beacon until like a few weeks after it was constructed. But we drove by there one night to go to my grandma's house for something, and I seen the beacon and it had flashing sign markers, so I knew it got a beacon by then. But yep, I remember when they built lots of these Tillman infrastructure towers. Alright, so here's another one that YZ knows about. This one's on Interstate 71. Now, I didn't know this because I was making a video called Towers I'll Film in the Summer, and then that one summer ago, because I had this certain tower. It's like in the background, behind trees here. I should have took a screenshot of it so I can record it for this video. But there was this tower, and he commented on that video saying like there's like a new cell phone tower built near that tower. And I didn't get to see the new tower until I went up to Cleveland last month to go look at a concrete long lines tower. But it turns out, I didn't even realize this, that we already drove by the new tower. But the older tower, the antennas were taken off of it because Tillman Infrastructure is the replacement company that AT&T and Verizon are partnering up with now. So it sucks. And this one's got an FTS 370 too. I'll have to ask him if the side markers flash or not, because I don't think they do. But, I don't think they do, but they probably just normal side markers. So here's one I remember they put up in 2014. This was before they partnered up with Tillman Infrastructure. So this one's a Verizon cell phone tower. But we was driving to this town, like about halfway up to the north of Ohio. And we went up to this hill because there's this one cell phone tower I always see. Well, I didn't get to see it because it was probably hiding behind the trees, but about in the same area I saw this new cell phone tower, and I was like, did they replace it? So we had to get a closer look at this new cell tower, and it turns out it's actually not in the same spot as the older cell tower. Wish I don't have a picture of it right now, but I'll show you guys the other cell tower for a different video. But this is the new cell tower, 2014. I think this might have an FTS 370 beacon, because I think they were out since 2014. Well, they were probably made in 2013, so it probably does have an FTS 370. For some reason in my area, the FTS 370s are becoming a more common beacon now, and like the FH324 and FH306 beacons. And there's also a few FH308 white-only beacons that are common in my area for these microwave towers. Which there's this tower at the Mutual site that has an FH308 beacon that's white-only. So this one here's in a local town near me. Whoops. So this one here's a local tower. And every day in 2013... my mom would actually drive me by this tower so we could see the progress they done on this tower. Because I remember when they first started on it, they had put gravel put in and they had the concrete for the shelter building below it. And we was kind of curious if they was going to build a cell phone tower here, and they actually did. So I spoke with one of the guys that was building it. He said it belonged to like a Verizon 4G tower. And I keep trying to see what kind of beacon it has, but I think it might have like the flash technology dual strobe at the top of it. Because I still can't figure out what beacon that is. Because it's kind of like a little tiny dual strobe where the top of it flashes in day and the bottom half flashes at night. So I'm not sure what kind of beacon that is, but it's probably just me. Now here's a tower that was built in 2009. It's not really new anymore, but this one has an FH324 beacon. And the reason why I considered this to be one of the new towers is because it's not really that old, but there is a time back in 2009 where I would go to Springfield all the time with my family, and I would always see this big crane up on the hill where this tower stands. And every day we go to Springfield, they have a section put up on the tower. Like, the tower would get taller and taller every time we go to Springfield back in that year. And I'd always see guys climbing it to build it because there's this crane there. So I didn't find out that it had an FH324 until 2 years after it was built. But yeah, this is one of my most favorites now because I remember when they built this. Now here's one I don't remember seeing very well, but I discovered this one from Google Earth. It just looks like a new tower, and I think it might be a Tillman Infrastructure tower. But I don't know too much about this one, but it does look new. Okay, so here's one of my favorite cell towers I discovered from Street View. Now if you'll notice, this one's by a conjoined Western Union Long Lines tower. Like right there. But this one's a Verizon tower too. It's got one of those FTS 370s again, which they're very common in my area for some reason nowadays. But this is a very tall cell tower. It's not like a regular sized one. Now here's one that's kind of hard to see from Google Maps Street View. It's a lattice one. Now there was a time where I remember I went out west and I seen this tower. And me and my mom took a wrong turn because the highway was closed. Well, there was this closed highway and we had to turn onto a different road. And after we turned on the different road, I looked in this direction. I seen they had a new cell tower. And when I seen this tower, it didn't have the platform yet because it's probably constructing the platform and getting it finished up. But now it's a complete tower. And I think this one has a Hughley and Phillips dual strobe. Yeah, I think it does, because this still has the fast flash like a strobe. Now here's another one I discovered from Google Earth that looked like a new tower. So when I discovered this one, it didn't have the platform. It almost feels like it's a repurposed tower, but it's not, because I remember when I found this on Google Earth, it had dirt around it like it was newly constructed. But when I found it, it didn't have the antennas, but now it's one of those complete towers. I'm not sure what kind of beacon this one has. I don't think it does, but I remember seeing some kind of side markers with it. Now here's the next one. This one's near my dad works, actually. Well, my dad, there was this time where they gave this tower a modification. And my dad has a picture coming home from work with the big crane beside this tower. And he always told me how the guys were hanging off the top platform of it. And this one has an FH324, by the way. But there was that one time, a few years ago, and it had its modification, because I remember my dad had that picture. Well, just recently, it's got a second platform. The lower platform's the new one. So it just got platform added onto it. Alright, so here's a 911 communication tower. This one was built in 2014. But my dad, this is close to where he works again too. It's like one of those in the same area. And well, there was this time where where he read the newspaper saying Honda or some company in the area of like where he works. It's like, yeah, I should set, yeah, but there was this company near where he works, and they actually donated this tower to a 911 company. Now, this was basically a microwave tower built in 2014. It's beaconless because it's a small tower. And there's the guys climbing up putting the new 911 antennas on it. But I remember reading a lot about this in the newspaper when it was donated. Yeah, if I can get on the next picture here. Now here's another new monopole on I-71, or Interstate 71. Now I've seen this tower. Every time I've seen it, it still didn't get its antennas yet. Now I know they got the platform up because that's what it is. Now I don't think Wise Aiden knows about this tower, but I have probably told him on Discord about it before. But there's this new tower I've seen going up to Cleveland. It's like a second new monopole on I-71. But believe it or not, there's actually a third new cell tower on I-71 that's owned by Tillman Infrastructure. Now this one's a beaconless tower. But every time I seen it going up to Cleveland, it didn't get its antennas yet, so it's probably still working on it. Now here's the third new tower on I-71 that I was talking about. See, I don't know too much about this tower, but I tried to find this tower on Google Earth, but I can't find where it's at. See, I'll just have to wait till they update Google Earth and I'll find it.